All right, what's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Stock Talk. This is a series I make whenever I feel it's necessary, where we cover some exciting news and price action in regard to some of the stocks we've been talking about on the channel. In today's case, we're focusing on some COVID-related biotech stocks. I could not be more bullish on this sector right now for a multitude of reasons that I will go over with you guys today. So as you can see on the right, they all had a great day as well, so I figured it would be appropriate to cover them. How trading view open, we're going to take a look at all the charts on these guys. We're just going to go down the list. So Moderna, Inovio, Novavax, AstraZeneca, and Sorrento are the stocks we're going to be covering today. You guys trust me, I know there's a lot of other exciting projects in this sector, but these are just the stocks that I am choosing to cover today. All right, so before we get into them, I will ask you guys to please give the video a like if you go on to gain any value from it, and subscribe if you are new around here. And if you already are, thank you very much. All right, so let's get straight into this. Moderna had a good day today. We are just going to be focusing on all of these charts on the daily candles. Okay, so daily time frames. I'm looking for macro shifts. Okay, macro trend shifts. For those of you who don't know, I'm not a day trader. I'm a swing trader. So I'm looking for bigger shifts in trends. All right, and that is kind of what I'm seeing with Moderna right now. Okay, so for those of you who have watched my last few stock talks and my analyses of Moderna, you would know that I actually haven't changed this trend line, or this general trend direction at all in these lines. Okay, this top line of resistance, this bottom line of support, I haven't touched in weeks. Okay, and it is following this bottom line of support very well, which is super promising. We can zoom in on that a little bit, but you see how it's just been dancing along this line of support, which is very bullish in my mind. It's holding steady. That means that, at least in my mind, always remember, you guys, this is just my opinion. What I'm saying right now could absolutely not play out. It could be the exact opposite, but this is what I'm thinking. It is dancing right on top of that lower line of support, which is very bullish. Volume is pretty steady. It's higher than it's been in the past. It is going down, which it is going down significantly from that huge jump it had when it gapped up super significantly about a month ago. So it is going down, but it's slowly picking back up from where it was at just like a week ago. So volume on a daily is rising, which is bullish. There is more volume coming in. There's more capital coming in, which is good. And again, I can't imagine right now Moderna falling any lower right now, just because it has used, or I should say, I can't see it falling below this line of support because it's such a strong line of support at this point. I can't imagine it going below that unless something absolutely catastrophic happens, which I'm hopeful won't happen. I don't think it will happen. It always could, so never discount that. But I think that Moderna is starting this next wave up. Again, I've had this circle drawn on this for as long as I've had this chart drawn, or these two purple lines right here drawn, the support and resistance line. So it is still, I mean, it's kind of out of the realm of possibility at this point. I mean, we could honestly just move this right there, and it's still possible if everything goes. I mean, that's an overly optimistic scenario in my honest opinion. It is possible. I don't think it will happen. It could happen, but I would not put my money on it. That if this does play out, it will breach the $90 mark around just within the next week, which, again, unless something very, very good happens, which I don't doubt it can, but I don't think it will. That won't happen. But I have said over the past few analyses on this stock that I think it's very reasonable for it to hit the 75 to like 75-ish, $76 region, because that is where they price their secondary offering at. So I would not be surprised at all on this next run up to see it hit the 75 just in this area right here. So we're going here, I would say from $73 to like $78, $5 region. It's a pretty big region and a big range, I guess. Not really, but I wouldn't be surprised at all to see it hit that mark. Okay. And again, there's so much bullish momentum fundamentally. Technicals, I'm personally not focusing on the technicals as much as I am the fundamentals, and that's what I'll cover with you guys right now. Okay, so this isn't regarding Moderna specifically. We'll get into that after. I have a few articles I want to show you about Moderna and all of these specifically. But this kind of just sets the grounds for why I'm bullish on the sector overall, okay? And we're not going to be looking at any of these articles specifically, but this is just, and I did Google COVID-19 case spikes, but there is so many of these articles popping up, okay? And again, this is a very skewed search, so it won't be this saturated if you just like Googled COVID or COVID cases, but it's just to show you guys the example of how many articles are out there in regards to concerns about staying safe as states see spike in COVID-19 cases. CDC predicts 130K U.S. coronavirus deaths by July 4th, with more new cases as states reopen. And I'm sure you guys have been turned on to this news. As states are beginning to reopen, cases are going up. That is not surprising at all. It was kind of inevitable. But that's the reality of what will happen. If people want to get back to work, if people want to get back to living their normal lives, not normal, but you know what our new sense of normalcy now is, people want to get back out there. People are fed up. There's so much civil unrest. People want to get back out. But as a factor of that, which is just kind of the harsh reality, but the reality at this point is that as people go out, as people come in contact with each other, cases will go up. That's just inevitable. That's common sense right there. So that will happen. And this sector, this vaccine, this treatment sector, that all of these that we're going to be talking about today fall under, is the savior. Okay, so these are the savior stocks. These are the save the world stocks right now. These actually, I know the entire market has been very volatile lately. There's been a lot of stocks crushing it, but in my honest opinion, this is one of the few sectors that this crazy price action and these crazy price gains, or in terms of price per share gains, is very justifiable, very warranted, and I think this sector, especially with the second wave coming in hot, that is, as more and more states reopen again, I would not be surprised at all to see this have a second wave along with the waves of COVID. It's kind of a messed up double entendre, but with a new wave of COVID comes a new wave and a new rally in this COVID-19 sector, which I do believe will happen again. Never discount the fact that some of these companies could flop and some of these projects could flop. But in my honest opinion, there's no way all of these will flop. I think some of these will come out super strong. Moderna is, if you guys have been following, you would know this is my favorite single play. It is the biggest play. It's not like it's a crazy pick or like a unique pick by myself. But if you have been following, you know we've been following Moderna on the channel here from like way back here, to be honest. Those were some of the first like stock investing videos I made, actually. So we have been in Moderna. Moderna from the get-go has been my favorite company. We have seen some solid gains in Moderna. But let's go over some of this Moderna specific news, and then we'll get on to the others, all right? Because I'm going a little long on Moderna right now. Sorry about that. All right, so Moderna races ahead, finalizes plans for phase 3. This is a Forbes article. All right, so this is an update. This was updated on the 12th, a few days ago, but it's still relevant. That is still in the biotech time frame. That is very recent, okay? So Moderna mRNA has outlined plans for phase 3 clinical trials for its COVID-19 vaccine candidate mRNA 1273, which will begin in July and is expected to include about 30,000 participants. Phase 3 trials will primarily study the efficacy of the vaccine in preventing symptomatic COVID-19 disease and secondarily the prevention of severe cases of COVID-19, which require hospitalization. Moderna also provided an update on its phase 2 trials, which are currently underway, noting that it had enrolled 350 out of its total planned 600 participants for the study. Moderna also said it's on track to deliver roughly 500 million doses of the vaccine per year and potentially up to 1 billion doses annually starting in 2021. All right. Overall, the pharma industry is moving much faster than expected with COVID-19 vaccine deployment. And we have been talking about this for a long time, right? This is different than any other kind of vaccine. Like when these big biotechs, when these big pharmaceutical companies are trying to develop new products, the FDA, the regulatory approval, just that whole entire process takes so long. But since this has permanently damaged the world, and it is pretty, not permanent, I'm not going to say permanent, it has as of right now 100% damaged the world and has damaged it for a good amount of time. So this is going on the fast track again. We saw Operation Lightspeed from the US government, or Warp Speed, or whatever it is, something like that. So they are putting they're like going all in on getting a vaccine made ASAP, okay? Again, Moderna, US company, they were given a grant from the US government. They were one of the few companies that got that. They're like the pride and joy of Fauci, Dr. Fauci. So I'm very bullish on Moderna, still bullish on Moderna. Look back at the charts again. Moonshot over the next couple weeks, we could see the $90 mark, but to sum this up, I think Moderna hitting the $75-ish region, I'll just leave it at that, I think would not be crazy at all to see. So let's hope that happens. My money is on it. Always know that, guys. My money is on everything I'm saying here. Let's move on to... Actually, no, sorry. I wanted to cover this last piece on Moderna, and then I'll shut up about it, all right? So This is from a viewer, Tom Frenzy, sent me this article. Shout out to him. He's a day one. So shout out to you, Tom. Thank you for this. It is not in-depth at all. This is honestly very speculative. But Israel reportedly in talks to purchase Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine. According to Ynet, Israel is in advanced talks with Moderna to purchase COVID-19 vaccine. So again, this is reportedly, this is just Seeking Alpha article. I don't put much weight on just these words. If it is made the press, there might be a glimmer of truth to it, because obviously word on the street sometimes is reliable. But I'm not going to put a whole lot of weight on this yet. Just keep it on your guys' radar. Just keep an eye out for it. Keep up with this yourselves, as always. Always do your own research, dig into it. But I just wanted to put this on your guys' radar just in case. All right. So let's move down the line to Inovio. All right, I actually don't have any news on Inovio today, but I'm really liking what I'm seeing on the chart. And if I'm sure you guys didn't assume by now, I'm not going deep on the TA at all. I'm not analyzing these technically. All right, again, I'm looking for macro trend shifts. Could look at the RSI. You know what? We'll look at the RSI on Moderna real quick. So the stochastic RSI is curling up. When it's going up like that, at just a steady rate, that's good. RSI right now, my fat head's in the way, but it's at about 59. I just checked before this. So 59 RSI relative to where it's been over the past couple months is actually pretty low, and it's steadily climbing its way back up. So Moderna, as well as Inovio, a lot of these stocks are just looking strong right now. Like not crazy volatile, but that's the beauty. They're just looking strong. Like they're looking strong. I feel very safe having my money in these and having call options on these right now. Okay, so Inovio, again, stochastic RSI, both and RSI are pretty neutral right now. Again, this is on the daily time frame, which is what I'm looking for. Macro shifts and shifts in trend. But Inovio just has been following this super solid, just uptrend. Okay, so again, this line of support, or this line of resistance and this bottom line of support, as I'm sure you can assume, are not like following any direct daily candles or anything, but it's just a good sign. Like this is, just sum it up. Whenever I draw trend lines, I don't go to the exact end of the candle. I try to average it out in my mind. So just in my eyes, this is the average of these trend lines. Okay, you could even put this up here a little bit, which might be a little more average, but you know, that's just how I do it. Trend lines are just to show kind of broad trends. That's how I use them, at least. All right, don't use them precisely. At least that's not how I found effective. All right, so Inovio has just been following this like super solid uptrend. It's printing higher highs and higher lows, very barely. So this high, as you can see here, was very barely higher than this high, and then this low was definitely higher than this low, but it's higher, and that is so bullish just from the absolute. That's like fundamental TAs. Okay, so higher highs, higher lows. Inovio is on its way up. The RSI on a daily is pretty low. The stochastic is climbing up. Volume is pretty low, but again, you guys, I'm bullish on the sector with the news of cases rising, of people wanting treatment to this. Again, I don't think another lockdown is going to happen. Okay, I personally don't see that happening. I think people are way too fed up. They just accept the risk that they're willing to take, and I'm honestly for that. To each their own. If you are high risk, you should stay inside. Be safe. Be thoughtful and mindful of those around you who are high risk. Just be mindful of it. But if you are younger, if you're willing to take that gamble, then to each their own, in my honest opinion. All right. But as the cases go up, as people see the numbers going up, they are gonna want to, in my opinion at least, flood back to this sector. And on top, like that will bring more volume. We've seen a lot of green volume on the daily. So this past week, for the most part, has been green. And that's bullish. And again, it's just looking strong. All right. This sector as a whole, we'll look at Novavax right now, because again, we had no news on Inovio. We'll look at Novavax right now, and this is crazy. Okay. So if you guys did watch my last episode, I think it was like a week or so ago that I posted the last analysis of this sector. I drew this bull flag on Novavax, and I'm not Nostradamus by any means. This is, as I always tell you guys, this is bull flag. This is one of the most, throughout this pandemic and throughout this crisis and just this market over the past few months, bull flags have been the most reliable technical indicator and technical pattern, I should say, at least in my experience over this crisis market. Okay, so drew this bull flag up about a week ago. A literally perfect to the T almost, broke out right at the peak. Okay, so Bull flag, if you guys aren't familiar, always talk about them again, but obviously, as its name states, is a bullish pattern. It usually plays out to the upside, and in this case, this is a textbook bull flag, okay? So bull flag happened, perfectly broke out of the tip, and Novavax is also looking strong right now, okay? So Novavax actually from a stochastic, the stochastic RSI, excuse me, is just starting to curl up. And every time that starts to curl up, okay, so not every time, but you see just this last time, for example, you see a long period of just a flat stoke. That's what it's called, a stoke. Or not what it's called, but know that if I say stoke, that's what I mean, stochastic RSI. The stoke was flat, and then it just starts to curl up, and that's when you see these huge gaps up, okay? So you guys keep a close eye on Novavax right now. Novavax is looking very strong in my opinion. And yeah, let's look at actually some of this news on Novavax, okay? So we're just going to do a quick one. These articles, I'm sure you guys have stumbled on them before if you are researching a stock. Don't go super in depth. It's more of an opinion piece, but it does sum up to the general reason why Novavax shares jumped today. Okay, so the nice gain resulted from the company's announcement that it was raising around $200 million in gross proceeds through a private placement deal with RA Capital Management. Earlier this month, Novavax won a $60 million contract with the U.S. Department of Defense to deliver over 10 million doses of its COVID-19 vaccine, which NVAX. The $200 million raised through this latest private placement deal will help fund both continued development of NVAX, their COVID vaccine, and also their flu vaccine, okay? So Novavax, not only, you guys have to remember, even like Moderna to Inovio, they aren't only trying to develop a COVID vaccine, they're also developing other things that are in their pipeline. So again, this Novavax is $200 million capital raise. Some of that capital will also go to the help of development of a flu vaccine, which could be very lucrative for them as well, all right? So keep that in mind. Let's move on to AstraZeneca. Now, I haven't talked about this stock much. This is actually the first time I'm covering it directly and like looking at their chart. To be completely honest, I'm not invested in this. AstraZeneca. So what I will say, AstraZeneca has a very high market cap. So they have a $135 billion market cap, all right? They're a huge name. They are a kingpin in the pharmaceutical space. Novavax and Inovio are both floating around $2 to $3 billion market cap. Moderna is currently at about a $20 billion market cap. So Moderna is 10 times the size, roughly, of Inovio and Novavax. And AstraZeneca is like 5 times the size of Moderna, just to put that into perspective, all right? And as you guys know, I have said this before, the smaller the market cap, the more potential there is for price gain because it takes less capital flowing into the stock to push up the price per share. So AstraZeneca, although I don't doubt it can succeed, I'm not even going to like break this down from a chart perspective because I'm not invested. I don't want to give my take on it from a technical perspective. But they are a big company, which is why I personally don't choose to invest in them. I don't doubt at all that they could kill it and that they could come out very successful from this and do a lot of good for the world with the work they're doing in this space. And I do want to show you guys this. This was pretty big news today within this sector. So 4 European nations to pay $843 million for AstraZeneca's coronavirus vaccine. I'll just read you guys the highlights. You guys can read this article for yourselves if you want to. CNBC. Italy, Germany, and the Netherlands and France have agreed to pay an initial €750 million, or about $850 million, for 300 million doses of AstraZeneca's potential vaccine against COVID-19. Italy itself will pay €185 million for 75 million doses of the vaccine. The vaccine is being developed by Oxford University. All right. So very bullish news for AstraZeneca. This is awesome for them. That's a huge contracting deal. Again, that doesn't mean that... at least what I got out of this and how I dictated this article myself, they're not paying them directly right now $850 million. That is a contracting deal. So once they get the vaccine up and running, they have already contracted them for that amount of vaccines if found successful. Okay, so keep that in mind. But that is very bullish for AstraZeneca. Again, I'm not investing myself. It's the market cap is just too high. I keep my risk low, but I do bet on companies with higher potential. You guys would know that if you follow the channel, but that is just kind of how I structure my portfolio. Low risk with high reward. Obviously, that's how everyone wants to structure their portfolio, but I'm very mindful about that, all right? High reward potential with a low risk profile. All right, so that's AstraZeneca. Let's move on to the last one. These were all vaccines, to my knowledge. I know actually these three were AstraZeneca. Again, I'm very not Okay, no, AstraZeneca, duh, is a vaccine. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay, so Sorrento is these. Okay, these four are vaccines, obviously. Sorrento is a treatment. That's where I was going, and we'll actually just start with this news on Sorrento, and then we'll finish off. We'll close out this video on the chart. All right. So Sorrento Therapeutics had good news for investors recently when it said its second candidate to fight coronavirus showed positive results in preclinical testing. Last week, Sorrento said the candidates it calls COVID trap showed its ability to block coronavirus infection in African green monkey kidney epithelial cells. That's a tough one in vitro. All right, path forward for COVID trap. So COVID trap is that treatment. All right, or that's what they're calling their treatment. Sorrento discussed COVID trap with the U.S. Food and Drug Administration and received feedback regarding the path forward. The company said it plans submitting preclinical data on both of its candidates for scientific publication in the coming 2 to 3 months. It will move forward into animal testing. If all goes well there, clinical trials would follow. This is an important caveat to that, though, which you guys always have to keep in mind about all these pharmaceutical companies. They still need to be proven safe and efficacious, first in animals and then in humans. Anything can happen at that point through that lengthy process. All right. So that's what you guys always have to remember. That's just a good underlying thing to keep in your back, or just keep in your mind with all of these companies, is that this is a very lengthy process and it's very, very up in the air. Again, companies like Moderna, these bigger players, especially AstraZeneca, is such a well-established company. Moderna, to be objectively honest, is a newer technology, and it is a little sketchier from that perspective. But AstraZeneca, like such a well-established player, is more likely to have like the news they release and the progress they're making is just a little more valid than a company like Sorrento, in my honest opinion. Sorrento, we'll take a look. They're sitting just under $1 billion market cap, so just at about a $990 million market cap. Smaller company, but again, the smaller the market cap, the more potential for growth. Sorrento is a great play, in my opinion. Again, I do a lot of focusing in my own portfolio on the vaccine stocks. I think Sorrento is a good play from the companies I've studied that are working on treatments as opposed to vaccines. Although there may be a lot of good news released, vaccine, just by the nature of what it is, will take longer to actually produce, like go into production. But if Sorrento happens to stumble upon a very successful treatment, that could go into production and actually be applied to the public and patients with COVID very shortly, if found successful, that is. Okay, so I think Sorrento, again, this is only my opinion, guys. Sorrento is one of the treatment companies that I'm choosing to play with. I like it myself. From a technical perspective, Sorrento looks pretty crazy right now. Like on a daily chart, you see this very obviously a bubble, but volume looks almost pitiful compared to where it was back here. But you have to compare this to where it was over here. Okay, so for Sorrento, because it's crazy on a daily chart, we'll actually look at this on an hourly chart because that'll make it a little more digestible. So you can see volume like slightly starting to pick up over here. Okay, so volume over the past, like since the beginning of June, has actually picked up a lot from where it was in like late May. So that's good. Hourly RSI is looking kind of weird right now. Let's take a look at the daily RSI because, again, focus on that macro. Daily RSI, the stochastic RSI, is on its way up. That is usually a good sign. It will probably continue to go in that direction prior to hitting this top area and then curling back down, and we might see a correction. But again, RSI on all of these on the daily terms, again, because a lot of them did correct. They have seen a correction over the past month since all the hype in mid-May. So I think it's about time for wave 2 on these guys. That's my opinion. Again, the technicals are always secondary, especially in this sector. This sector is kind of the epitome of technicals, putting technicals secondary to the fundamentals, because the fundamentals, the news that these companies release, drives these stocks forward. All right, so I do expect, along with the second wave of COVID, we will see a second wave of bullish momentum in this sector. Very bullish on this sector. I'll keep you guys posted with all the news. And again, I think there's very exciting price action to come. Okay, so we'll call it there, guys. Again, if you did gain value from this, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a like, subscribe if you're new. You can check out my complete portfolio, first link down in the description. It's exactly as it states. It is a complete breakdown of my entire portfolio. So you guys can know exactly which positions, which call options, which stocks I'm holding, or how much stock I'm holding in each of these companies, call options, put options, literally every position in my portfolio, even some cryptocurrencies if you're interested in that. Okay, along with that portfolio, I do send out a daily newsletter on every trading day, talking about the trades I made that day, my thoughts on the current market, and just kind of me rationalizing my thoughts and how I'm navigating my own portfolio. So check that out if you're interested in all. If not, no worries, but I will catch you guys next time. Until then, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.